everyone, this is Walt again from Raybuck Auto Buddy Parts. Thanks for tuning in again. Tonight we're going to be working on our transmission, getting the Bellhousing lined, and I believe today is day 10, maybe not. It's been a while since I made a video. I was making videos pretty regularly, but then got kind of tied up with some other stuff going on around the house. So we're going to call tonight day 10. It may or may not be, but that's where we're going to start at. And basically over the past few nights I've been messing around with the Bellhousing on the transmission, trying to check the alignment of that, and I'll show you what I've been doing with that. Basically what you want to do is try and get the Bellhousing so that the Bellhousing is aligned with the center point of the crankshaft, so that when you put the transmission in, everything works as it's supposed to. And the tolerance they want is 5/1000ths of an inch. So the center of your input shaft should be 5/1000ths of an inch within the center of the crankshaft. So let me take you into the car and I'll show you what I have been up to. Okay, so what we have, the Bellhousing is bolted to the back of the engine, and then we have a plate that I got from Grannis Racing that allows you to use a dowel indicator and check the runout of the Bellhousing. It's hard to see here, but this is for mating up the T56 or Tremec Magnum transmission, so that the Bellhousing has a couple areas which you can't see, but behind this plate that are kind of knocked out for different reasons. So it makes it really not possible to do a 360-degree sweep with a dowel indicator on the Bellhousing. So that is the purpose of this plate. Basically what I have been doing is rotating this to see where the Bellhousing is compared to the center point of the crankshaft. And after watching quite a few videos and trying to figure out the best way to do this, there is a video from QuickTime that they kind of go through explanation on how to do it, and I did it per the way that they show you how to do it. And basically where you start out is putting this plate on so that you have something to run the dial indicator on, and then rotating it until you find the point where the numbers go from positive to negative. And at that point you mark as 0, and then continue to run the dial indicator around and mark, the readings that you get. Once you find your 0 point, they recommend doing like just 4 points, so every 90 degrees basically. I did a few more just because I'm doing it by myself, so trying to turn it exactly 90 degrees was a bit difficult because I have to keep coming from underneath the car up to the front of the car to rotate the motor, come back under. So I figured it was just easier to do smaller sweeps and record those. It gives you the same information basically. It's just that you just have to do it more times than if you had someone here actually helping you rotate the motor. But basically after rotating it a couple of times just to verify that the readings were correct, if you look at my 0 point here, we have pretty much negative readings all the way around till we get back down in this region. Then they start to go positive again. And what that means is the negative readings is that this distance is farther away than a positive reading. So essentially the Bellhousing is shifted this way by a few thousandths. And what we have to do is to correct that is change the pins that are in the block that align the Bellhousing when you put it on the back of the engine. And how we do that is with an offset dowel pin kit. I picked these up from Summit Racing. These are the Lakewood Easy Adjustable Dowel Pin Kit, and that is the part number for that. I chose to use these dowel pins because they are a little bit different than a standard dowel pin. Standard dowel pins just basically get pressed in Some get pressed in. Some of the ones, like these ones that have an offset, it's kind of like a cam where when you rotate them a certain way, there's a high side and a low side, and then they require you to drill a small hole through the block into the pin and then put a set screw in to hold it in that place. I'm doing this while the engine is in the car, so I don't have the ability to do that. So I chose to go with these. They have like a set screw in the middle, so once you find the position that you need them in, you just tighten that set screw down, and it actually, you can see where these have a split in it. It expands that split and holds them in the block. Hopefully this will be an easier way to do it. I haven't tried getting the pins out yet, so I don't know how difficult that's going to be. But that is what I'm going to be working on. So I'm just going to let the camera run, show some video of how I do that. So let's get started. Okay, so we got the alignment plate off, and this is what I was talking about before. Even though there is a circular pattern here on the Bellhousing, these cutouts for the hydraulic throwout bearing, and I'm not even sure what these are for, but it just makes it not possible to run a full sweep on that to check the runout on the Bellhousings. In addition to checking the runout compared to the crankshaft, you also want to check how parallel the face of the Bellhousing is to basically the back of the engine block. So the other thing I did with the dowel indicator was mount the dowel indicator on the flywheel and position it so that instead of running around this area, it was running on the face. So as we go around, it's measuring the face of the Bellhousing, and depending on, you know, whose specifications you look at, that should be between 2 and 5 thousandths. Obviously, the closer to 0, the better, because that's roughly about 6 inches away from the crankshaft. So if you're out 5 thousandths, say out here, that translates even more as you get further in. Mine was pretty close. It was pretty much 0 to like 1 thousandths all the way around. Once it got up in like the 3 o'clock to like 12 o'clock position, it did change about 5 thousandths, but I'm not really sure what's going on there because it was just basically in this area. I did have to sand down the powder coating on this Bellhousing. It was pretty thick, so I got a straight edge and some sandpaper, and as you can see, it's kind of like a flat color now because I sanded all that flat with a square, you know, flat surface so that it would be nice and flat. Because when you get these, the powder coating has a lot of orange peel and it's heavy sometimes on the edges, so I wanted to make sure that was nice and true. So it is possible that just from me sanding on this, it changed it a little bit in this area. But the important thing is that for the most part, it's about 0 all the way, you know, around. So the transmission should made up fine to that. Okay, so we got our dowel pins out. Actually, not as hard as I thought. The flywheel had to come out, or the flywheel had to come off again. Anyhow, I had it torqued, but it wasn't torqued to the final specs. Nor did it have any thread lock or anything. Just a little bit of assembly lube on there. So I got the dowel, and I marked them. I don't know if you can see very well, but I put a line on them, and then across the top marked the direction that the offset is in. Basically, just looking at them, it's really hard to see it. If you look straight down at it, you can kind of see it as it sticks up a little bit. But I actually took a straight edge and just kept kind of running around it, and you can feel it, where it catches. And pretty much on this one it kind of lined up with the split, but on the other one it was a little bit off. So, but what I'm going to do now is we're going to insert these and angle them. What we need, here's the plate that we had in the car, and here's my 0 mark, which when I had it up in there, it actually fits kind of like that. So I just took a quick look, and it kind of references with the bottom corner of the oil pan. That's kind of where that's sat. So what I want to do is put these dowels in and rotate them so that they're kind of going, on that plane of an angle. And from what I've seen, this is kind of a trial and error type of thing. You can, try to get them in the position you think it has to go, but it may take a couple tries to get it correct. So hopefully we're lucky on the first try, because taking everything on and off is a bit of a pain, but once it's done and you set them, they shouldn't need to be adjusted again. So that's what we're going to do. Put them in and see what we get. Once they're in, I'll have to go through this whole process again. So that will mean putting them in, setting them, putting the block plate, bell housing, alignment plate back on, setting up the dial indicator again, running a full sweep, checking for runout, and then marking our measurements. All right, so after a lot of messing around, I finally got this right. When I started to do the video, I put the new pins in, I marked them, put them in, and apparently somehow I got them marked backwards. So instead of being offset in the correct direction, I had them marked as offset in the opposite direction. So I actually started making this video the other day, and after hours of frustration and taking things apart and putting things back on, I finally got it all done. I wanted to show a little more footage of how I was doing that, but that was just taking forever and I was getting frustrated. So, but basically what happened was I put the pins in, and all of my wrong measurements became even more wrong. So originally I had the bell housing was out by 12 thousandths. That became like 21 thousandths, and that was consistent all the way around. So at first I wasn't sure what was going on. I kind of thought that maybe something was up with the dowel pins and the bell housing had moved that way. Then I just decided, well, after measuring it a couple times, I decided that I should just flip them. So I basically went 180 degrees from where they were positioned, and after messing with that a little bit, got everything within spec. I don't know. I thought I had them in right, but apparently there was something I was missing. But end goal is that the bell housing is now aligned correctly, and I don't know if you can see, there's a little bit of glare from the light, but as we go around, we are 5, 5, 3, 1, 5, think it's 5. Or no, that's 005. 00. Yeah, 0005. 0, 2, 4. So well within spec now. So next thing will be hopefully to start bolting things on. I think all the mock-up, in any type of little fabrication I have to do is pretty much done. Still waiting for some parts, and we have to get the rear end out and get that new gear put in that. But it's coming along, and hopefully if I can get some time and really get on it, we'll be driving this before fall. Well, before winter, I should say. It's almost fall. But so that's it for today. I hope you guys liked the video. If you have any questions or comments, please comment below.